Welcome to all of you. Myself, Shekhar Mohite from Lal Bahadur Shastri College, Satara. I am working there as a head of department, botany. Today's my speech or the presentation is on World Natural Heritage, KAAS Plateau. First of all, we will see the KAAS Plateau is actually located in the Western Ghat. So, first of all, see brief information of the Western Ghat. That is, length of the Western Ghat is 1,600 km north-south. The width of the Western Ghat is 100 km east-west, and the area of the Western Ghat is 60,000 km square. These are some figures of the angiospermic data. In India, there are 17,500 species are found in India, total in India. Out of them, 5,150 species, that is totally 33% species of angiosperm found in India are endemic. In Maharashtra, near about there are 4,000 flowering species of the flowering plants are found. Out of them, nearly 700 species are endemic, that is 15%. On KAAS Plateau, total angiospermic flowering plants are there, that is 425. Out of them, 100 species which are endemic. These are endemic to actually Western Ghat and found on the KAAS Plateau. Next slide shows the KAAS geographical information of the KAAS Plateau. The total area of the KAAS Plateau is near about the 1,800 hectare. That is 1,142. Out of them, nearly 1,200 hectare is a forest land. Altitude of the KAAS Plateau is near about 4,020 feet from the mean sea level. Then humidity is medium, and the forest type is semi-evergreen and moist deciduous. These are some unique features of the KAAS Plateau, due to which the KAAS Plateau is included under the World Natural Heritage Site by the UNESCO. So these are the features due to which the KAAS Plateau is under the Natural Heritage Site. KAAS Plateau have a very unique ecosystem. KAAS Plateau contains the communities, the important communities of the plants and animals. KAAS Plateau have a high degree of endemism. Number of endemic species are found on the KAAS Plateau. Number of threatened species are found on the KAAS Plateau. Then this area, particularly KAAS Plateau, supports the evolution. And the unique feature of the KAAS Plateau is each species of the KAAS Plateau dominates the landscape for the few weeks. That means there is a flowering succession in the every week from June to up to end of the September and October. This is the map of the KAAS Plateau. The yellow area indicates the private area of the local peoples, and green area indicates the forest land. And this is the total KAAS Plateau, that is about the 1,800. This is the Google Earth image of the KAAS Plateau. It extends from the KAAS to up to Mahabaleshwar. In Maharashtra, the important feature is near about the 70% of the plant species are found on the plateaus. This is the important feature of the Maharashtra. That means total 70% of the flora are found on the plateaus of the Maharashtra. These are some threatened categories. These are some definitions of the extinct, what is meant by critical endangered, which are the vulnerable species, what is meant by low risk. These are the total number of the taxa, that is 425. Out of them, 100 species are endemic. On KAAS Plateau, that is 5 species are very critical or critically endangered. Out of these is Aponogeton satarensis, then your Isacnilis boi, some grasses are there. Then some species are endangered, that is near about 20 species are endangered. 17 species are vulnerable, and 8 species are at the low risk category. This slide shows the terrestrial orchid, that is Habenaria grandifloriformis. This slide is these flowers are the indication of the arrival of the monsoon. During the first shower of the monsoon, these terrestrial orchids are burst out. There is a single leaf at the base of the peduncle of this orchid. These are some flowering plants from June to July. In June and July, Habenaria Panchikanensis, then Habenaria digitata, then Chlorophytum glycoides, and Habenaria crassifolia. These 5 to 6 species of the Habenaria are present, terrestrial orchid Habenaria are present on the KAAS plateau. Then this is the important plant which locates or indicates the region Satara, that is Aponogeton satarensis, that is originated from the Satara. Dr. S.R. Yadav from the Shivaji University first locate these plants on the Mohite plateau near Patan. And these are some species of the Dremia and Habenaria crassifolia, then Iliocorpus Gladulosus, then Heracleum pinda, etc. This one is the Utricularia purpurensis in Marathi, which is commonly called as the Nili Popni or the Sitechi Aswa. This is insectivorous plant. On the back side of the leaf, there are a small pouch in which this plant catches the insect and digests the insect. So actually, these purple color flowers are very beautiful, but actually these are the insectivorous plants. As monsoon proceeds further, next succession of the flowering is the pink Impatience. There are 5 to 6 species of the Impatience or Terda found on the KAAS plateau. This is the Impatience lavi in full bloom on the KAAS plateau. The stem of these plants are very weak, so called as the Impatience. Next to this, this is the Iliocorpus, the full plateau after Impatience is in bloom. There are 5 to 6 species of the Iliocorpus found on the KAAS plateau. This is the climax stage in the September and October. This is the mixed flowering of the Utricularia, then Impatience, then your Indigofera, Iliocorpus, etc. This is the dominant species or the aggressive species which is found on the KAAS plateau is Pleocaulis ritchi or the Strobilanthes sessilis. In Marathi it is called as a Toplikarvi or the Bakra. Actually, flowering is once in 7 years. At vegetative stage, when this plant is on the vegetative stage, it looks like the inverted basket is put on the ground. Then these flowers, blue colored flowers, are very beautiful, and the honey of that particular plant is very famous in the Mahabaleshwar and Pachgani area. This is the Pogostemon deccanensis, the member of Tulsi family. Particularly grows along the marshy places or along the bank of these ponds. Next slide is of Habenaria hainiana. This one is also a terrestrial orchid. This orchid is very interesting. The flowers are present on the one side of the peduncle, so commonly called as a toothbrush orchid. It is endemic to Western Ghat. This one is aquatic Nymphoides indicum. It looks like that of the lotus, but it is not a lotus. This Nymphoides indicum have only 5 petals, and it is very interesting. Commonly in Marathi, it is called as a Kumudini. And in month of after February and March, the totally plateau becomes dry. These are some seasonal changes. For in the summer, April and May, the plateau is totally dry. then in winter, and slowly it changes from the post-monsoon, mid-monsoon, and in early monsoon only plateau is green. Then in June and July, or in the month of August, there are utricularias and Iliocolon. In post-monsoon, there is Impatience and Strobilanthus. And in last phase of the monsoon, there are these plants are Iliocolon and Smithias. And at last, the plateau becomes dry. This plant is very interesting nowadays. The local people or the tourists called as a Vaitura. There is no any actual Marathi name, Aponogeton satarensis. Dr. S.R. Yadav from the Shivaji University first invented this plant and separate from its forked inflorescence. So towards the left side there is a female flower, and towards the right side this is the male flower. It is also endemic and critically endangered species. This one is the Ceropegia vincifolia. Nowadays, this plant becomes more and more famous among the tourists. Actually, this plant is endangered and critically endangered, member of the family Asclepidaceae, and now included under the Apocynaceae. 4 or 5 species of the Ceropegia are found on the KAAS plateau. The flowers are very beautiful. All these are climbers. This one is the Ceropegia media. It is also endangered, under the endangered category and the endemic species. This is the critically endangered species, only found on the 2 locations, that is Chaukul plateau from the Sawantwadi and KAAS plateau from the Satara. This is the Ceropegia jaini, very rare phenomenon of the insect pollination. There is a forked follicle or the fruit of the Ceropegia jaini. This plant is called as Iliocorpus Gladulosus or the Casa. The flowers are very beautiful all along the plateau. There are big trees of this Iliocorpus Gladulosus. The leaf of this tree after maturity turns into the blood red color. This is the aquatic species found in the lake, found on the Mahabaleshwar route around the Rajmarg. It is a Rotala sayadrica, and the new species invented from the KAAS plateau. It is critically endangered and endemic. This slide shows the flowers of Cyanotis fasciculata, member of family Commelinaceae. The flowers are very small, about 1 centimeter long, but in small lens it looks very beautiful. The feather like hairs and the yellow anthers, then pink colored petals. This is also endemic to Western Ghat. This orchid is located from actually the Panchgane plateau. This is called as a Habenaria Panchikanensis. Very beautiful terrestrial orchid found on the KAAS plateau in the early stages. This is the threat to the KAAS plateau, that is vehicles all along moving towards the KAAS plateau. At that time there is no fencing, but now there is a fencing to the KAAS plateau all along the roadside. So under the tires of the vehicles, the tubers get crushed. This is the major threat of the tourists. This one is also a beautiful orchid, that is Habenaria longicorniculata. There is a long spur present. This is also endemic and a vulnerable plant. These are some Japanese tourists visit in the month of September, and they are very interested in the flowers of the KAAS plateau. This is also a Japanese group visited to the KAAS plateau, Japanese environmental group visited to the KAAS plateau. In our college, Lal Bahadur Shastri College, Satara, we have started one information center, that is the information center of the KAAS plateau in our college. So all Japanese visitors visited to our college. This one is my album, and front cover of the album. This is the Iliocorpus Gladulosus. These are some very rare species of the Ceropegia. At a glance, Ceropegia jaini, Ceropegia oculeata, then Ceropegia media, Ceropegia vincifolia, etc. This slide is also very interested. Hichnia caulina, in Marathi it is called as a tsavar, then Cyanoglossum malabaricum or Adenocarum malabaricum. The flowers are very beautiful. Then Mordania versicolor, member of Combinaceae, and PLATEAU gigantea, which is called as a Hoaxora. These are some species of the Smithia, then Iliocorpus belgamensis, then Cyanotis tuberosa, very beautiful flowers. Then this is the terrestrial orchid Malaxis reedi. This one is the Habenaria rariflora. This slide shows the media hype of the electronic and print media. At that time, the UNESCO team visited in 2011. It is at that time the UNESCO team visited to the KAAS Plateau to include the KAAS Plateau under the World Natural Heritage Site. This one is the Adanum indicum. These flowers are present at the last stage of the flowering on the KAAS Plateau, which is called as a Motti Sunki in Marathi. This is also terrestrial orchid Peristylis densus. These flowers are found in April and May. That is Jasminium mogra family. That is Jasminium malbacaricum in Marathi, which is called as a kusar. This is also epiphytic orchid Abronia recurva. Then this is also critically endangered or endangered species, that is Mordania laniginesa. The flowers are very nice and soothing colors. It looks very beautiful under the microscopic lens. This is one poster I have presented in the international conference at Tokyo, Japan. Very diverse biodiversity is present in our area. Next slide shows the threats to the KAAS Plateau. That is the windmills. Actually, construction of the windmills are going on nearby KAAS Plateau, not actually on the KAAS Plateau, but heavy vehicles are moving on the KAAS Plateau at that time. Now there is a fencing. Now some crazy tourists, there is a mass tourism is a major threat to the KAAS Plateau. Some crazy tourists trample the flowers of the KAAS Plateau and carving their names, and that is A, D, W like this. This is a very dangerous. These are some conservation methods. In situ conservation means conservation of all species in their habitat. Ex situ conservation means outside the habitat, like botanical gardens, pollen banks, DNA banks, seed banks, etc. These flowers are found in April and May. This is called as Anjan, Mimicillon umbellatum. Tree flowering is there. This one is the Smithia hirsuta. Marathi, it is called as a kavla. Actually, the local people or tourists called it as a Mickey Mouse. This slide is of Clerodendron serratum, in Marathi called as bharang. The young leaves of this plant eat as a vegetable. This is a member of family Verbenaceae. This one is a Begonia crenata, grows under the marshy and shady places in the KAAS Plateau. This one is the Ceropegia oculeata, found nearby places of the KAAS Plateau. The flowers are very beautiful and also one endemic member. This slide is very interesting. This one is the Drosera indica, and this is the main attraction of the tourists who are visited to the KAAS Plateau. This one is the Insectivorous Plant, Drosera indica. The plant contains the digestive gland, and in the gland, when the insect come in contact with this gland, the gland secretes some lytic or destructive enzymes, and the insect get dissolved in that particular enzymes, and the plant absorbs the nutrient from this insect. Some another species of the Drosera, that is Drosera burmani. The spoon-like leaves are present at the level of ground level. This one is the Mordania Simplex, member of the family Combinaceae. The common name of this plant is Nilima. This one is the Iliocorpus, in Marathi called as a chair. This one is a new species described from the KAAS Plateau. There is Eriocolon E. pedunculatum. There is no pedunculatum to this Eriocolon. This slide is of the mass tourism. The photo is taken at the September 2010. At that time there is no any fencing and there is no any car parking area. Iliocorpus Gladulosus, this is a member of family Fabaceae. The flowers colors are very soothing. This is a vulnerable plant and endemic. This one is the Flamingia nilgirensis, again the member of family Papilionaceae. This is also endemic species. See, these are some crazy tourists, and this shows the destruction in the nature. They are sleeping or sitting all alone in the flowers. This one is the Cyanotis tuberosa, commonly called as a Nabhali, Nabhali. This one is the Hichnia caulina, member of the family Scytaminaceae, again the endemic and the vulnerable plant. Our college organized different photo exhibitions of the flowers of the KAAS Plateau to the local citizens of the Satara to create the biodiversity awareness. This one is the Ipomia barleroides, member of the family Convolvulaceae, again the rare species. These are some epiphytic orchids, flowers in the April and May, Aedes maculosum, vulnerable and endemic species. This is the Lamprachianum microcephalum, vulnerable plant, and this is the Gingiber nisamum, again the member of the family Scytaminae. This slide shows the visit of UNESCO team or UNESCO team members, that is Wendy Stroham, interact with the local people on the KAAS Plateau in September 2011. Awareness among the local people is very important. These are actually the local people of the KAAS Plateau. We also organized the different exhibitions in the Satara city for protection of the KAAS. This is the Paracaryopsis malbarica, member of the family Boraginaceae. In Marathi we call it as a Kalnisurdi. This slide compares the two endangered species, that is species of animal and plant. And the tiger is endangered species of animal, and this one is the Ceropegia jaini. This is also endangered species of the plant. So there are tiger reserves and reserve forests for animals, but there is no any protected area particularly for the plant species. So forest department has to think that there must be protected area for endangered plants also. This slide shows the Arundelas Spicata, that is endemic grass or the vulnerable grass found on the KAAS Plateau. And on the right side, this is the Euphorbia acaulis. It's a member of family Euphorbiaceae, shows the cyathium inflorescence, particularly grows or burst out, the flowers or inflorescence burst out in the April and May. This one is also Dremia polyantha. The flowering is in April and May, also endemic and the vulnerable species. This slide shows the visit of IUCN team or the UNESCO team to visit to the KAAS Plateau to observe the floristic diversity of the KAAS Plateau. This one is she is a Wendy Stroham, ecologist from the Switzerland, observed different plant species on the KAAS Plateau. This is the visit of our Forest Department Minister of Maharashtra State, Dr. Patangrao Kadam, who observed different species of the flower or flowering plants on the KAAS Plateau. This slide is very interesting. This is the Nothopoditis pneumoniana, Narkia, in Marathi called it as Narkia and Ghanera. Particularly, this plant is used against the blood cancer. And the statistics shows the wood sold 2 rupees per kg from the local people, and the camptothecin which is extracted from this plant is per kg, that is 18,000 rupees. So 10 ton sent by the local peoples to Japan and Germany It is a business of 18 crore. This is the Indigofera pulchella, member of the family Fabaceae. Pancratium triflorum, Amarlidaceae member. This slide shows the car parking area before the KAAS plateau, before 7 to 8 kilometers. Now there is a restriction of the car parking on the KAAS plateau. This is the Ramphicarpa longiflora, member of the Scrophulariaceae member, or scroff, found on the KAAS plateau. This is the Mordania Simplex, very small flowers are found on the KAAS plateau, member of family Commelinaceae. This is one medicinal plant or the climber, that is Anantamul in Marathi, that is Hemidesmus indicus, this is member of family Asclepidaceae. This slide shows the fencing now all along the roadside constructed by the forest department for protection of the flowering plants or for protection from the vehicles or from the tourists. The length of this fencing from both sides is near about the 45 kilometers. This is the Nidia glauca plant, in Marathi called as a rameta or datpadi. Particularly this plant, the extract of the stem or root is used for the fishing. This one is a very interesting species, yellow terda or piola terda, that is Impatience dalseli, again the endemic species found on the KAAS plateau. This is the Indigofera dalseli, again the vulnerable species or endemic species found on the KAAS plateau. This is the parasite on the Strobilanthes sessilis, or found on the Strobilanthes sessilis plant, that is Cristansonia calcalarata. This is a epiphytic orchid, generally flowering in the April and May, Dendrobium barbatulum orchid, that is endemic and vulnerable. This plant is very interesting, that is Gymnema sylvestris, Bedkica pala. Particularly used, the leaves are used particularly used in diabetic patients. This is the endemic plants, very common climber, grows all along the Western Ghat, that is Vigna vexillata. This slide is very interesting. There is 3 naked truths of the life is shown in this slide. Though there is a lot of gold in your hand, but you cannot eat the gold. And can he live without gold alone? No. All human members require the food to survive. The naked truths of the life. There is a main source of all medicines and oxygen is the plant. These are the plants. Species value is invaluable. Always species value is more than the money. This is one group of Biodiversity Research and Conservation Foundation. This is my book, Flowers of KAAS Plateau, World Natural Heritage, Floral Gallery, which contains the 265 plant photographs or flower photographs of the KAAS Plateau, and detailed scientific information is written in this book. Actually, this is an album of the flowers of the KAAS Plateau. The detailed conservation strategies and all these are mentioned in this book. This is a beautiful KAAS lake which supplies the drinking water to the Satara city. Thank you very much. Save Western Ghat, save KAAS Plateau.